Okay, we're trying something really new here. This is strange for me to have a microphone. I have a podcast and I've neglected her, you know what I mean, for the past year and a half or so because life has happened, and maybe through some podcast episodes I will go into that more, but today I wanted to talk about finding joy again in motherhood and in my life, really, and as a person, and kind of what that means. And maybe some of you can relate to this. And so I thought I would do a video podcast because that's kind of fun. It's just a bit more interesting. But also I want to get good audio. So we're trying this out. Sorry for the waffle. That's just me. I'm a waffler. Anyway, if you're new here, hello, my name is Julie. I have a podcast called the Confident Mom Podcast, and I have a YouTube channel where I'm trying to post regularly about things that make my life easier, better, make me happier as a mom, and might help you as well. I hope they will. I post a lot about keeping your home neat and tidy and decluttering. I think it's a way for me to control the chaos that sometimes ensues. And when challenges come, I feel like if I'm cleaning something or if my home is tidy, I can kind of relax. Like, I know some people don't care about mess, and I kind of wish I was that person sometimes, but I get distracted by it. Maybe some undiagnosed ADHD. Anyway, so I post a lot of decluttering content. I also post a lot of recipes and things that I'm trying out for my family because I'm really trying to cook as much from scratch as possible, just healthy food. I feel like our world is chaotic in terms of food. I live in the United States, even though it might not sound like it, and I don't know who to trust, you know what I mean? So I try and make breads at home and pizza and even pasta from scratch and sauces and all kinds of things. So sometimes I post recipes and things that I just want to show you that it's possible to do with 3 kids. So I have 3 kids, so whatever, 0 kids and more, you can integrate these things into your life if they are important to you. I'm also in a new mommy era, I feel like, and I turned 40 last year. I don't feel 40, I must tell you. And it's a big milestone for a lot of reasons. But one of the things is, as a child or as a 20-year-old, you feel like 40 is old. Like it's only downhill from here. And I refuse to believe that. I'm going to try my best to age gracefully and to age strong, I guess. So just keeping active. I have little kids, so I need to be keeping up with them, but for myself too. I mean, I need to do this for me. I don't think you can really change for other people. You know what I mean? Like if someone's trying to quit smoking or something, they really, time and time again, research has shown us, and I'm sure you have people in your life who have something that they want to stop doing or do more of, a good thing, and like you can't make someone change. You can only change yourself. So I'm changing myself. Yes, my children will benefit, hopefully. Hopefully I'll be calm and fun and a happy mom and live a long time, and they'll want to be around me. I won't be this curmudgeon. And I want to do it for myself too, and for my, I was going to say for my husband as well, but for my relationship and just living my life. So I've had a few realizations, I feel like, since my youngest one has now started school with more consistent hours and just giving me more time to kind of be with myself and think. And I really thought, oh, what am I going to do with myself? I've been full-time parenting them, often on my own. My husband travels a lot for work. We don't have family nearby. I'm alone a lot with them. And I need, I thought maybe now I'm going to have to find things to do, but that has not been the case. So we're probably 2 or 3 weeks into school at this point, and I haven't been bored once. It's rare that I'm like, what should I do right now? If I'm asking myself that question, it's like I'm deciding between a bunch of different things and which one should I do? Not I have nothing to do, what should I do right now? And I'm also not really someone who sits around and watches TV. I do like to watch YouTube videos, if I'm honest, but that's more my relaxing at night, but I don't really sit still. So, which I think is good. I think it's good to keep active, and, it's important to relax. That is true. And I could do more of that, but it's also good to be busy. And I think I thrive better with that, with structure, with busyness and structure. So I feel like I have a few thoughts about this whole thing, and I wanted to share them with you on the podcast and also just on YouTube if you're watching over there. So one of the things that two things. Let's go back. Two things. So I listened to a Mel Robbins podcast recently because if you know me, I'm obsessed with Mel Robbins. I think she has really good advice. It's like free life coaching advice if you're listening to her podcast, which is kind of incredible. And she is going through empty nest syndrome, and she said she hates that word or whatever. And originally I wasn't going to listen to it, but I listened to basically every episode. So I was like, I'm going to just see, maybe there's something here. And for me, in a strange way, I'm also kind of experiencing a little bit of empty nest syndrome because I don't have a baby at home for the first time in my life. And I can kind of do what I want during school hours. And it's so freeing, and it's a little intimidating, and it's a little like, I don't want to waste this time, and I want to make something of myself, and what am I going to do next? I also don't have a full-time job like I've had in the past. I'm an occupational therapist by training, and if you know anything about the healthcare professions, it's usually a very traditional path. You're working 8 to 4, 9 to 5, 12 to 8, doing something like that, and your time is not really your own, for better or worse. So I'm in a situation where I'm like, wow, I have all this time now. I need to be mindful about how I decide to spend it. I don't have to go crazy and just be a slob or a sloth on the couch. But I think it's also important that I also take time to rest, because there are periods that are like sprints in my day, But at the same time, I kind of am free for the first time ever. If you think about it, like you're a child. You start going to formal school around 6 years old. I don't remember really anything before that too much. And then I've been in school or university or a job or had a baby or both since then for 40 years, which is wild. Anyway, so we have that, the empty nest syndrome. And then I went on a retreat this weekend to California. Some of you might know Jess Hover from the Very Good Moms Club. I don't know what I was going to say, but and I have done some coaching for her inside her program. And over the past year, I just had to take a step back. I just couldn't balance it all, mainly because my husband got a new job and he was away a lot, and I had a little baby at home, and it was affecting my mental health to really not be bunkering down on all the things that I needed to do revolving my kids. Like, it would give me anxiety. So I took a break from coaching, like formally, I guess. And I've never met her in person, but I know a few of the girls or ladies that are on calls regularly. And I think I'm going to go back to the weekly calls. I can address that in a second. But anyway, she had a retreat. I didn't really know about it initially. And someone on the retreat invited me to come, and I booked it ages ago, and it was a bit of all right, YOLO, let's do this. I mean, when you book trips like 6 months in advance, you really don't know what's going to come up closer to the time. And as it turns out, my husband was traveling on either side of that trip. So basically, he got back the Thursday night. I left really early, like 5 a.m. Friday morning. He was alone with the kids for the weekend. I came back Sunday afternoon. He left again Monday morning. So it's not always like that. And I don't usually travel. I'm usually at home all the time, or we're all traveling together as a family. But it was just kind of insane, so it's kind of wild. Anyway, we just have a really busy month with like lots of travel that I wouldn't normally leave. But anyway, because I planned that trip so far in advance, and I'm not going to go cancel unless I'm like dying, I was feeling nervous about going because, I had just come off a week of like solo parenting. I'm tired already. It's, I didn't really know what to expect. I've never met these people in person before. Like, it's a strange relationship when you know someone virtually, but you've never met them. And I thought, okay, well, I've booked this. And if I hadn't made plans to do it, I would never have done it, right? And it was the best thing I could have done at this point in my life. And something that came out of that trip, I mean, there were so many things. I feel like I got to meet everybody. Like, I got to know everybody in an express fashion, because you're spending so much quality time with them. Also, like, without kids, and you're really only responsible for yourself. I didn't have to plan meals. It was amazing. I didn't have to make a lot of decisions. It was incredible. I had so much more sort of myself to give to other people and just be able to listen to their stories. And I think we all went there with sort of wanting to be open and knowing each other a little bit. So we weren't complete strangers. I mean, there were people I'd never met before, so there were some complete strangers, but everybody was so willing to share and be open. It was like express friendship, right? It was just, we went deep really quick. And I think we got to know each other, and I feel like we're bonded for life. I mean, I hope we are, and we all have to keep up that relationship. But a couple of things that came out of that for me. One was like how important it is to have fun. Like, I haven't really had fun. I mean, yes, it's not like my children are not fun, but like fun for me. And I think if you get it, you get it. Otherwise, you might think I'm like a horrible wench. But to me as a person, just going back to me as a person, and yes, like I play the role of a mom now, and that's a big part of my identity. And I have a partner and all this kind of thing. And I'm a certain age, so I've lived a certain life. So I have that perspective, I guess, but it's just fun to like laugh until you're like crying, you know? Like I don't do that enough. I don't prioritize fun and joy enough. And sometimes you just have to do it with people kind of your own age or with grown-ups. Like you're just not going to get the same life satisfaction, or you're not going to fill up that bucket or that part of yourself with a 3-year-old or a 9-year-old, because we're not peers, you know? We're in a different dynamic, we're in a different relationship. And it was just a really amazing reminder. And now I'm like heavily committed to having more fun and investing in my female friendships and making the effort with people. Some of it is tricky because of where I live. Like we moved out of New York, where I had a lot of close friends, especially with working for as long as I did there. I met people, we were in the trenches together. I know these people really well. Although socially, we didn't see each other a ton because everyone's all scattered around. So we left our friendship group in New York, and some people left New York as well. And it can be very transient. But I have a whole group of friends in New York, and I know a lot of people in LA, and we're in Austin. And like, I don't know as many people in Austin. It takes time to build, especially adult friendships. It takes a really long time to build up that meaning. And I guess if I can say I have 1 or 2 close friends here in Austin, or even just one, I'm doing pretty well. But I need to invest in friendships, and some of that is going to be hoping that people will come and visit me and like extending the invitation, because I feel like sometimes I'm just like, well, obviously you should come visit me. I don't need to ask you, but I do sometimes need to ask people. Everyone's busy. Everyone needs to prioritize it. We probably need to plan it like a year in advance. I need to invite people to my home. And I think if I can provide a place for them to stay, that's also one less barrier that they have to deal with. Because I know when we go and stay in places, there's 5 of us now, people don't necessarily have space for 5 people. And it's a barrier for us going. We have to pay for flights, we have to pay for a car, we have to pay for accommodation. It gets expensive really quickly. So there's this balance of like, I'm going to try and prioritize going to see my friends. And maybe that is just me, because I'm just one person, going, you know, twice a year or something, or once a year to New York and once a year to LA, just to like check in with everybody, but going in person, because that is so powerful, especially now we're coming off like a Zoom world, you know. I feel like there's nothing that can beat in-person connection. Like we're not designed to be connecting purely through a screen, even though I'm glad we have that option. So there's that, like shifting my priorities. And the other thing is that because my youngest child is 3, like we're in a new era of parenting, assuming we have no more children, which is definitely not the plan. Then, you know, you're only as strong as the weakest link. And in this case, the weakest link is your child that needs you the most, is the youngest child. And I hate leaving my children. And it's always this paradox of like, I'm so happy I'm here and I miss them and I wish I could share. But there's just certain things I can't do as freely if they come with me. Never mind just the practical element of like the cost of flying everybody out somewhere, and finding places for them to stay, and then like wanting adult conversation and going out for dinners and things, which is not just, so sometimes children are just not welcome there, you know. It's like not the right environment for them. So it was really eye-opening. And as we go, like now I just want to go back, you know, but as we go, we're sort of heading into the last quarter of the year. Like I'm not going to go back this year, but at the same time, I can start planning maybe for 2025. Beyond that, inviting people to come and stay with us. We're renovating our house so that we can have guests and they can have their space and we can have our space, and it can be comfortable for everybody. So let's see what happens. I mean, I don't know if anyone wants to come to Austin, but you're more than welcome if we're friends in real life. But yeah, so that really that whole thing of like, wow, I'm entering a new era where I can actually have friends again and I can invest time in friendships, because it's always been this pull and push of me wanting to do stuff and then being restricted by a baby, but loving the baby and wanting to have the baby and wanting to be restricted by the baby, and also just being exhausted and not having energy to give to somebody else. I have referenced this before, but if you've ever read Atomic Habits, which is an incredible book I think everybody should read, by James Clear, he talks about the four burners, and I hope I'm not butchering this, but it's like family, business, friendships, and health, I think, something like that. He might not call them those exact things, but that's basically what it is. And he argues that you cannot really be doing more than two of those things well. So now you've got family, business, friendships, and health. Which of those things are gonna fall by the wayside? Like, I have 3 children, so family is taken up. I need to be healthy to a degree in order to, look after my family. But I also want to have a career and like make money and do things and coach and make videos. So that's business. I mean, and then friendships, like where the heck does that all fit in? So it's really tough to do all these things well. And I think that's a huge shock when people have a baby and they're like, oh, wow, now I'm expected to go back to work and perform like I did before I had a baby. It's like impossible. I'm running on like 10%. And obviously it gets easier as they get older, but also they have more of a life as they get older, and they have activities and they have friends, and like, what are you prioritizing? And that's just a personal decision. And it depends how much help you have, and so many things. So yeah, it's the first time where I have like a couple of hours in the day where maybe I'm not doing the laundry, I'm not making dinner, maybe I'm not working out because I've already done that, or I've done some kind of exercise, not doing appointments, I don't know, where I can now focus on myself in a unselfish way. I don't know. Because I came back from that weekend and I got barely any sleep. I mean, on Friday night, I think I stayed up for like 23 hours, something crazy like that, because of the time change and my flight being so early. And then we went to bed so late, like California time. I got very little sleep. And yet when I came back, I just was like, I was just happy. My soul felt fulfilled. And I wish I could hold on to that feeling forever, but I don't think I can. Like, I don't think life gets back to normal. You get the normal frustrations. People annoy you. Things happen. People don't do what they say they're supposed to do, or something breaks, or I don't know, something happens. Your child's struggling. And then it kind of just fizzles out. And so how do you keep up? I mean, I don't think you can be on euphoric levels of joy all the time. That's probably not practical. But there's got to be ways to do it. Anyway, so I think for me, I'm going to really prioritize, instead of going on these exotic holidays and trips and things, maybe, not that I was doing that a lot, but this is also something I wanted to do. But with children, that's not really practical. But instead of doing all of that, maybe just staying a bit closer to home and seeing people that I can see that are good friends of mine, and continuing to strengthen that relationship as we get older. I think that'll bring me a lot of peace and joy and fun and like freedom. So that's what we're looking at. And yeah, I don't know. I've always wanted to feel done having children. Like, yeah, no more kids, we're done. And my husband always jokes that I could have like 25 kids and still want more. And, after a child is born, at least in my experience, at least for the first kind of 2 years or so, I'm like, yeah, no, I'm done. Or 18 months, I'm like, no more. I could never do have any more kids. I'm getting rid of all the baby stuff. I'm done. And then you kind of start to get yourself back again, and you're like, oh. So there's like 2 parts of me. There's like one that loves little babies. My sister just had a baby, so I'm just going to go and visit her so that I can have my baby fix. And she has a 2-year-old, which, like that stage I find pretty challenging. I'll go there and then I'll feel cured for like a temporary amount of time, and then I'll come back home and just enjoy not that we're there yet, but we're almost there, but like not having to travel with a stroller, or maybe we have one less car seat coming up, or we can downscale the car seat, or we can take them out for dinner or something. We're getting there slowly, but not if we have another baby. And I just think also I'm 40, like we got to be realistic about these things. Anyway, So I always wanted to have this sense of peace that I was like done having kids, and it's a grieving process for me. And I know everybody wants me to feel like, oh, wow, you have too many children already. Or maybe they don't, but I know some people do. And I'm not going to feel that way. And that's okay. And I have to just sit in that a little bit of sadness that I'm not going to go through this again and not have this little sweet baby and not have more siblings for my kids. Because I'm playing the long game. Like I'm looking at it from like a bird's eye view of like, how are they going to be when they're older and they have each other? What do I want my family to look like, you know? And I have to be okay with, like, we have 3 healthy children. Like, what more can you want, you know? And so part of me is like, it's greedy of me to want more kids, but I'm just acknowledging that this is how I feel. Like, I love little babies, but in reality, do I really want another one? And to go through all of that. And pregnancy is so stressful. I can only imagine what it'll be like at 40. And the world we live in is tumultuous. So I think it's the right decision for us. And we just can't handle more babies, I don't think. Anyway, but so I want to, so my antidote to feeling sad about closing the chapter on having more kids is enjoying what I have now. I mean, you can really use this strategy for any habit that you have, but embracing what I have now. Oh, I have more freedom. I have more time to do things for myself. I can work on my health and exercising and fitness, and I can work on being a good friend, because it can be very hard to be a good friend when you have children all over you all the time, demanding every ounce of your sensibility. So we're working on that. I did not think I would have so much to say on this topic, but I'm glad that I did. I hope you enjoyed it. This is a different, format for me. I'm going to try this all out and see how it works. And I hope you will tune in. You can listen on Spotify. You can find my podcast there. I'll have the link down below. The Confident Mom Podcast. See how long that name sticks. And then also on YouTube, I would love you to subscribe and share this episode if you found something resonated with you as a mom, as a person. That would be amazing. So I hope that this provokes something in you that you can relate to, or it sparks something else that you might want to talk about. So let me know in the comments what you thought and what your thoughts are about going into a new phase of life and finding joy in that new phase. And with all that said, I will see you in my next video. Bye.